Good day, everyone. We are the Group 6. For today's lesson, we are going to discuss the Lesson 1, which is entitled The Information Age. So, first, let us know the lesson objectives. At the end of this lesson, the students should be able to first, define what information age is all about. Second, discuss the history of information age. And lastly, understand the factors that need to be considered in checking website sources. To formally start our discussion for today, let me ask you first the question: how do you describe in your own words our society nowadays? Well, I have an answer for that. Words or phrases that describes our society are highly modernized, automated, data-driven, and lastly, technology advanced. So first, let's discuss why our society is described as highly modernized. We are highly modernized since there are a lot of changes happened from what we used in the past just to gather information as compared to now in terms of sharing information. The people nowadays can easily gather them in just one click. Second, automated. Automated in the sense that we are not longer operating by doing it one by one, but instead, we do it in a large way or we operate largely. The third and the last one are data-driven and technology advanced. We all know that our society nowadays mostly focused on data to work on. If we do not have enough data gathered, it is hard to go on. Technologically advanced since, as we all know, we are getting slowly to be dependent to technology. There are those new inventions that can make our life easier. For example, in terms of gathering information, we have the Google. We all know that almost everything that we wanted to know is already in there. And it's only just one click away, not unlike from the past. If we want to gather some information, we will visit the library and find the information that we needed by scanning and finding the book that we need. On the other hand, there are the different areas of society that have been influenced tremendously. The first one is the communication. In terms of communication, the way people communicate because of the different advancement happened are made easier. By using the different social media platforms, they can easily contact each other. One example of that is using the messenger. If you want to contact your loved ones that are far away from you, you can easily message them, or you can also video call them if you want to see their face and hear their voice as well. Second is the economics. And economics, the way the different country exchange products because of the great changes happened or technological advancement, it gives us a big opportunity para na rin makasabay sa kanila or sa ibang bansa na talagang technologically advanced and highly modernized. At kumikita din tayo ng dahil dito. While the industry, health, and the environment, they changes tremendously as time goes by and they improve in their own kind of way. Like for example, the health. We discovered and improved the way we treat the different diseases and how we can detect it. But let us always remember that the rapid upgrade of the information has also its disadvantages. So at this moment, we will now discuss to you the history and impact of technological advancement to society. But first, let us know what information is. So information, according to the Webster's Encyclopedic An abridged dictionary, it is a knowledge communicated or obtained concerning a specific fact or circumstance. And information is also an important tool for survival, since the word information is important to everyone. If we don't have information, so what is the meaning of living? Information is all about for us people. Kasi kung wala tayong kaalam-alam man lang, ano na lamang ang mangyayari sa atin? So we should always remember that it is an important tool for survival. So next, information age. What is information age? So according to vocabulary.com, it is a period starting in the last quarter of the 20th century when information became effortlessly accessible through publications and through the management of information by computers and computer networks. So it only means that the information age really started at the last quarter of the 20th century. It is the time when we easily access the information that we wanted to gather through the computers, personal computers, or through the internet that we have nowadays. The information age is also called as digital age and the new media. So we should always remember that aside from the information age, we can also call it as the digital age and the new media age. According to James R. Messenger, who also proposed the theory of information age in 1982, the information age is a true new age based upon the interconnection of computers via telecommunications. With this information system operating on both a real-time and as-needed basis. Furthermore, the primary factors driving this new age forward are convenience and user-friendliness, which in return will create user dependence. It only means that information age is the new age in which we are no longer on a finding the information that we needed by writing mails and delivering it through the post mail, since we already have the so-called email or electronic mail. We can just search the information that we needed in Google, then searching it from the library and finding the books that we needed. Information age is also convenience and a user-friendly and create user to be dependent to them. Next, we will talk about the history of information age. Emergence of the information age by the United States American history. During 3000 BC, Sumerian writing system used pictographs to represent words, in which the word pictograph means picture with words, picture words. So, the Sumerian people used pictographs to represent words, not letters. During 2900 BC, it is the beginning of Egyptian hieroglyphic writing. Egyptian hieroglyphs were the formal writing system used in ancient Egypt. It is used for writing the Egyptian language. Hieroglyphs combined with logographic, syllabic, and alphabetic elements with a total of some 1,000 distinct characters. Cursive hieroglyphs were used for religious literature on papyrus and wood. During 1300 BC, tortoise shell and oracle bone writing were used. Oracle bones were used for divination over 3,000 years ago in ancient China, and they are among the oldest items held in the British Library. Questions about the crops The weathers, battles, and the ruling family were engraved on the bone, and the heat was then applied with metal sticks. During the 500 BC, papyrus roll was used. So, papyrus roll, or commonly called biblion, taking its name from the material of which it was made, which is the papyrus plant. It is consisted of papyrus sheets pasted edge to edge with a slight overlap. So, papyrus roll, ito yung yung kagaya ng napapanood natin sa mga K-drama na yung binabasa ng nakaroll siya. Pero, the material used is papyrus plant. Pero, hawig siya doon sa roll na binabasa ng kung sa mga traditional na napapanood yung Korean drama. Yun. Pero, ang naiiba lang is yung materials na ginamit. Since yung papyrus roll, the material used is the papyrus plant. So, during the 220 BC, Chinese small seal writing was developed. So, when we say small seal writing, it is also called as Shaozhuang characters, and it was the first set of Chinese characters that were made the standard all across China. So, during the 100 AD, during this time, the woodblock printing and paper was invented by the Chinese. So, the woodblock printing existed in Tang, China by the 7th century AD and remained the most common East Asian method of printing books and other texts as well as images until the 19th century. So, the process of the woodblock printing is somehow I can say na napakarami niyang process. Hindi naman sa napakarami, pero ang hirap niyang gawin. So, ang first step niya is we need a wood block first. Then, if we have something that we want to print, we need to carve the wood block that we get the things that we want to print in the paper. So, after natin ma-carve yung gusto nating ma-print, in which example, we want to print the name, your name nga ya. So, you're going to carve out the name from the wood block before you print that. So, if you already carved the desired letters or drawings from the wood block, then we're going to apply the ink, then the paper will be ipapatong natin siya doon. Then we're going to press that like that. Parang ipipress natin siya ng maigi para yung ink doon sa wood block na kinarve natin is lumipat siya doon sa paper. So, that's how woodblock printing works. So, during 1455, the year 1455, Johannes Gutenberg invented the printing press using movable metal type. Around 4050, Gutenberg created his own printing system using a hand-operated printing press and metal movable type, which could produce far more copies than wood blocks with less deterioration. The use of movable metal type was also much quicker method than the earlier use of a wood block for each page. So, ito namang na-invent ni Johannes Gutenberg, which is yung printing press using movable metal type. You can search, I can show you the image on how it look like. So, if you want to know how the printing press invented by Johannes Gutenberg using the movable metal type, you can search it on YouTube, and there's a lot of videos showing how it is used or how it works. During 1755 during the year 1755, Samuel Johnson's dictionary standardized English spelling. So, according to Wikipedia, it is among the most influential dictionaries in the history of the English language. So, the first person who standardized English spelling was Samuel Johnson during the year 1755. During the year 1802, the Library of Congress was established. The research library that officially serves the United States Congress and is the de facto international library of the United States is the Library of Congress. So, it is the oldest federal cultural institution in the country. So, this is the Library of Congress. During the year 1802, it is also the year on when the invention of the carbon arc lamp. So, carbon arc lamp are commonly used in cinema projectors. During 1824, research on persistence of vision published. Persistence of vision is an optical illusion where the human eye perceives the continued presence of an image after it has disappeared from view. It is also known as retinal persistence. This optical effect was described by English Swiss physicist Peter Mark Rogers in the 19th century. During the year 1830s, first viable design for a digital computer happened. English mathematician and an inventor Charles Babbage is credited with having conceived the first automatic digital computer. During the mid-1830s, Babbage developed plans for the analytical engine. Although it was never completed, the analytical engine would have had most of the basic elements of the present-day computer. Next, during also this year, Augusta Lady Byron writes the world's first computer program. So, Ada Lovelace in full, Ada King, Countess of Lovelace, in which her original name is Augusta Ada Byron, is an English mathematician and an associate of Charles Babbage, for whose prototype of digital computer she created a program. She has been called as the first computer programmer. Lovelace became interested in Babbage machines as early as 1833 when she was introduced to Babbage by their mutual friend, author Mary Somerville. Babbage only built a small part of the analytical engine, but Lovelace's efforts have been remembered. During the year 1837, invention of the telegraph in Great Britain and the United States. Developed in the 1830s and 1840s by Samuel Morse and other inventors, the telegraph revolutionized long-distance communication. It worked by transmitting electrical signals over a wire laid between stations. During the year 1861, the motion pictures were projected onto a screen. Motion pictures is a series of still photographs on film projected on a screen using light in rapid succession. The optical phenomenon known as persistence of vision gives the illusion of actual, smooth, and continuous movement. Year 1876, Dewey Decimal System was introduced. Dewey Decimal System is a proprietary library classification system which allows new books to be added to a library in their appropriate location based on subject. It was the first published in the United States by Melville Dewey in 1876. The Dewey Decimal System organizes information into 10 broad areas which are broken into smaller and smaller topics. Different topics are assigned numbers known as the call numbers, and an example for that is tigers, in which the given number for tigers are 599.756. During the year 1877, Edward Muybridge demonstrated high-speed photography. So photographer Edward Muybridge uses high-speed stop-motion photography to capture a horse motion. The photos prove that the horses has all 4 feet in the air during some parts of its stride. During 1899, the first magnetic recordings were released, while during 1902, the motion picture special effects were used. So special effects are generally created through animation, miniatures, or matte shots. And animation is any process whereby frames are shot individually. So the motion picture special effects, or the special effects used that is applied to King Kong. So in King Kong, the first ever movie of King Kong, I think, yung special effect ay may nagamit doon na special effects in which na-apply siya sa bida mismo na si King Kong. Nandun yung, diba, si King Kong is malaki and there's people na pinapakita doon na maliit, so nahahawakan niya, in which yung bagay na yon is tinatawag nga siyang special effects. So during 1906, Lee DeForest invented the electronic amplifying tube, or the triode. The Ocean was an electronic detecting or amplifying vacuum tube invented by American electrical engineer Lee DeForest in 1906. So Ocean or triode, it was the first triode consisting of an evacuated glass tube containing 3 electrodes, a heated filament, a grid, and a plate. So Ocean or the triode has been used as an amplifier for both audio and radio signals, as an oscillator, and in electronic circuits. In the year 1923, television camera tube was invented by Zworykin. It was invented by Vladimir Zworykin. The function of television camera tube is that it is an electronic device that converts an optical image into a sequence of electric pulses or video signals. In the year 1926, the first practical movie sound was released. So, Don Juan, in which the first major motion picture to premiere with a full-length synchronized soundtrack. But in 1927, the first feature film originally presented as a talkie, even though it is only had some sound sequences, was The Jazz Singer. So, The Jazz Singer, which is premiered on October 6, 1927, is a major hit, and it was made with Vitaphone, which was at the time the leading brand of sound on disc technology. During the year 1939, regularly scheduled television broadcasting began in the US, and by the year 1940s, beginning of information science as a discipline. So information science is that discipline that investigates the properties and behavior of information, the forces governing the flow of information, and the means of processing information for optimum accessibility and usability. So, in the year 1945, Vannevar Bush foresaw the invention of hypertext. Vannevar Bush is normally considered the grandfather of hypertext, since he proposed a system we would now describe as a hypertext system as long ago as 1945. This system, the MEMEX, or also known as memory extender, was never implemented. However, it was only described in theory in Bush papers. During the 1946, ENIAC computer was developed. In 1946, Mockley and Eckert developed the electrical numerical integrator and calculator, are also known as ENIAC. The American military sponsored this research because it needed a computer for calculating artillery firing tables, the settings used for different weapons under varied conditions for target accuracy. In the year 1948, it is the birth of field of information theory proposed by Claude E. Shannon. So Shannon, in a landmark paper written at Bell Labs in 1948, Shannon defined in mathematical terms what information is and how it can be transmitted in the face of noise. What have been viewed as quite distinct modes of communication, the telegraph, telephone, radio, and television were unified in a single framework. So in the year 1957, planar transistor was developed by John Horney. The planar process is a manufacturing process used in the semiconductor industry to build individual components of a transistor and in turn connect those transistors together, and it is the primary process by which silicon integrated circuit chips are built. During the year 1958, the first integrated circuit was developed, and in the year 1960s, the Library of Congress developed MARC in the 1960s. Their intent was to create a computer-readable format that could be used for bibliographic records, enabling libraries to download, cataloging, share information, and search all part of the cataloging record. So it would be easy for them to manage the library. During the 1969, UNIX operating system was developed, which could handle multitasking. During 1971, Intel introduced the first microprocessor chip. Intel Corporation, as we all know, it is stylized as Intel and an American multinational corporation and technology company headquartered in Santa Clara, California. During the 1972, optical laser disc was developed by Philips and MCA. The Laserdisc, or LD, is a home video format and the first commercial optical disc storage medium initially licensed, sold, and marketed as MCA DiscoVision, also known simply as DiscoVision in the United States in 1978. During the year 1974, MCA and Philips agreed on a standard video disc encoding format. So Philips and MCA decided to join forces in September 1974 and together developed the optical disc. They announced the completion of these joint efforts and published the standards for the optical disc in 1967. During the year 1975, Altair microcomputer kit was released. It is the first personal computer for the public. So the Altair 8800 is a microcomputer designed in 1974 by MITS and based on the Intel 8080 CPU. During the year 1977, Radio Shack introduced the first complete personal computer. So the first complete personal computer was named TRS-80. It became widely used in small businesses and was a major contributor to the personal computer explosion. So this is what TRS-80 looks like. And during the year 1984, the Apple Macintosh computer was introduced. The first Macintosh was introduced on January 24, 1984 by Steve Jobs, and it was the first commercially successful personal computer to feature two known but still unpopular features: the mouse and the graphical user interface, rather than the command line interface or its predecessors. During the mid-1980s, the artificial intelligence was separated from information science. So, artificial intelligence is the simulation of human intelligence processes by machines, especially computer systems, and the specific application of AI or artificial intelligence includes expert systems, natural language processing, speech recognition, and machine vision. If you guys know Siri, okay, Siri, that is an example of AI or artificial intelligence. So next, during the year 1987. So during this year, HyperCard was developed by Bill Atkinson Recipe Box Metaphor. The system built with HyperCard are built using the metaphor of stocks and cards. So the projects created by HyperCard are called stocks. HyperCard was developed by Bill Atkinson and gifted to Apple on the basis that Apple would release it for free use on all Macintoshes. It was initially released in August 1987 and immediately became a huge success and was used in many ways by many people, many of whom began programming for the first time. And during this year, the year 1991, 450 complete works of literature on one CD-ROM was released. So imagine the information age during this time is getting better. So Microsoft launched the very first software in 1987, which was the Microsoft Bookshelf. It came on CD-ROM and was followed in 1991 by the Commodore Dynamic Total Vision featuring a CD-ROM drive. And this is now the year of the January 1997, in which the RSA or Encryption and Network Security Software, the Internet Security Code, cracked for a 48-bit number. So during this time, this is the beginning of the use of internet connection. So up until now, we are still using this and we are still improving and still developing. So habang tumatagal, mas dumadami yung mga information na nakukuha natin, and sa kadami-damihan ng mga impormasyon na yon, halos hindi na natin sila lahat ma-absorb. So imagine, sign of the information age given from the table is only up to January 1997. So kung hanggang ngayon pa, marami pang mga information ang madadagdag doon, and we can no longer have the time to discuss all of that. And dahil nga sa dami na ng information na nalalaman natin at hindi na natin sila maisa-isa pa, ito na yung tinatawag natin na information anxiety. So, at this moment, we will now discuss the next topic, which will be presented by my other group mates.
Fact on the information age. Information must complete. Every time that we talk or we send information, whether we convey it, we must make it sure that the information that we are sharing to others are complete to avoid misunderstanding, especially when it comes in social media, in chatting or texting, because they can hear us the way we deliver the information. So in conveying or sharing an information, we must see to it that it was complete and truthful. The media sells what the culture buys. As simple, if today's trending is wearing crop top dress and dancing trending TikTok, almost all the social media platform you will always see is all about that. What trending for today is what social media will give you. You are what you eat, and so is your brain. Like if you are a person that is always in social media and watching SPG movies, clips or anything, someday or in that day you might become that one. Not literally that one, but you see is that your brain being interpreted. Anything in great demand will be counterfeit. It tells that everything too much is as an equivalent bounced back to you. Just like what you give is what you have. Everything is too much is not good. In every situation, ideas are seen as controversial. Most of it are those information that are talking about great issue on time issue. Those information that has a hidden message, sample or political issue. Everywhere you go, you will always encounter a controversial issue regarding in a specific politician. Undead information work over on. So everything that didn't yet being sold, it won't stop and keep on spreading. Just like a gossip, or every time there a same issue, it will always be tackled even if it was done many years ago. As long as they see something on it that they can still be compared to the specific issue or information. Media presence creates a story. In our generation, right now, almost 90% of all the people around the world are involved or using social media. When someone posts something, like an FB page, see to it that it only take a second or a minute for that photo to have a own version of story depending to someone who sees it. Thank you.
Computer. A computer is a data storage and processing electrical device, or also called information. It is controlled by a software that offers detailed step-by-step instructions for solving a problem. Computers are one of the most significant societal contributions of the information age. Ang computer, ito ay isang software na nag-aalok ng detalyadong instructions para sa paglutas ng problema. There are many types of computer. Number 1 is personal computer. Personal computer is a one-person instrument. Microcomputers were the first name given to PCs, since they were complete computers developed on a smaller scale than the massive system used by most corporations. Ang personal computer naman ito ay isang gamit ng isang tao lamang. Ang mga microcomputer ay unang pangalan na binigay sa mga PC dahil sila ay mga kompletong computer na binuo sa mas maliit na sukat kaysa sa napakalaking sistema na ginagamit ng karamihan. Number 2 is desktop computer. Desktop computer described as a computer that isn't built to be portable. With a desktop, the idea is that it will be placed in a permanent location. A workstation is just a desktop computer with a faster CPU, more memory, and expanded capabilities for performing specific activities like 3D graphics or game development. Desktop computer naman, ito ay isang computer na hindi ginawa para maging portable. Ito ay inilalagay lamang sa isang permanenteng lagayan. Number 3 is laptop. These are battery-powered portable computers that are somewhat larger than a regular hardback book and incorporate the necessities of a desktop computer. Notebooks is a common name for them. Ang laptop naman ay isang portable computer na pinapagana ng baterya na medyo mas malaki kaysa sa isang regular hardback book. Number 4 is personal digital assistants. These are tightly integrated computers that typically do not have keyboards and instead rely on human input via touch screen. PDAs are typically the size of a book, lightweight, and run on batteries. Ang personal digital assistants naman ay mga computer na walang keyboard at sa halip ay umaasa lamang sa input ng tao sa pamamagitan ng touchscreen. Number 5 is server. Server is a computer that has been enhanced to give network services to other computers, referred to as a node. Server, ito ay isang computer na pinahusay upang magbigay ng mga serbisyo sa network. Sa ibang mga computer ay tinutukoy ito bilang isang node. Number 6 is mainframes. These are massive computers that can take up an entire room. Large firms, in particular, use them to represent the massive expensive machinery that execute millions of transactions on a daily basis. Enterprise server has taken the place of the term mainframe. Mainframe, ito ay isang malaking computer na ginagamit upang kumatawan sa napakalaking mamahaling makinarya na nagsasagawa ng milyon-milyong transaksyon sa araw-araw. Number 7 is wearable computers. Materials that are commonly found in telephones, watches, and other small objects or places are involved. Databases, email, multimedia, and schedulers are examples of common computer application. Wearable computers, ito ay karaniwang makikita sa mga telepono at iba pang maliliit na bagay sa lugar ay kasangkot. The World Wide Web Internet. Claude E. Shannon, an American mathematician who was considered as the father of information theory. At the age of 32, he produced a paper claiming that information can be quantitatively encoded as a sequence of ones and zeros while working at Bell Laboratories. The Internet is a global network of interconnected networks that allows data to be transmitted between millions of computers. It was created by the Department of Defense in the 1970s. In the early days, the internet was used mainly by scientists to communicate with other scientists. One early problem faced by internet users was speed. When Sergey Brin and Larry Page, directors of a Stanford research project, discovered that the most popular result would frequently be the most usable, they constructed a research engine that listed the results to reflect page popularity. Back then, the new forms of communication were also introduced. Email or electronic mail was a convenient way to communicate with co-workers, business partners, or friends. Messages might be sent and received at the individual's leisure. On the other hand, the Internet's uncontrolled and open-natured enabled pornography to be transmitted to millions of households. It would be difficult to protect children from these effects or even from coming into contact with violent predators. Nowadays, crimes in various forms are rampant because of the use of social media. Cyberbullying is an issue that possessed alarm worldwide. Consequently, we need to be aware of the possible harm and damage due to the abuse of these advances in the information age.
Bioinformatics. Bioinformatics is the application of information technology to store, organize, and analyze the vast amount of biological data which is available in the form of sequence and in structure of proteins, the building blocks of organism, and nucleic acid, the information carrier. About bioinformatics, reason why it was established. The human brain cannot store all the genetic sequence of organism, and this huge amount of data only be used efficiently with the use of computers. Swiss Prot Protein Sequence Database was initiated in 1986. It was the development of a consolidated formal database, while the initial database of protein was maintained at individual laboratories. With this made an enormous variety of divergent data resources available for study and research. Other user of computer and software tools, widely used for generating these databases. Identify the function of proteins. Model the structure of proteins. Determine the coding region and nucleic acid sequence. Find suitable drug compounds from a large pool. Software tools. BLAST used for conferring sequence. Annotator. An interactive genome analysis. GeneFinder. Tool to identify the coding regions and splash sites. The sequence of information generated by the Human Genome Research was initiated in 1988, which has become the primary information source for the future application in medicine. This sequence of information is the primary information source that cold store huge information, running 200 volumes of 1,000 pages, accommodating a billion entries of the human population. Challenge. Number 1, to improve database. Number 2, develop software for database access and manipulation. Number 3, devise data entry procedure to compensate for the varied computer procedure and system. From the pharmaceutical point of view, bioinformatics is the key to rational drug discovery. It reduced the number of trials in the screening of drug compounds and in identifying potential drug targets for a particular disease using high-power computing workstation and software like Insight. Application of bioinformatics and genome sequence led to a new era in pharmacology, pharmacogenomics, when potential targets for drug development are hypothesized from genome sequence. Molecular modeling, which requires a lot of calculation, has become faster due to the advance in computer processors and their architecture. In plant biotechnology, bioinformatics is found to be useful in the areas of identifying disease genes and designing plants with high nutrition.
Good day, everyone. I am Sheila Mota, and I am the reporter number 5 and reporting of how to check the reliability of web sources. Evaluating sources. Reliability. Can I trust the source? In this source, reliable, credible, accurate, objective, or true, or trustworthy and current. Evaluate reliability. There are 3 criteria. The number 1 is authority. Is the author recognized expert on the topic? Number 2, objective. What point of view does the author represent? Number 3, authority. Can I verify the source and accurate of the information? Think much each research topic is most reliable and useful source for each topic. Give the match source 2 separate grades, 1 for reliability and 1 for useful, grades A, B, C, D, F. Topic: your family history, best movie to see. Require moments for a driver's lessons, primary causes of insomnia, source, academic, journal, encyclopedia, family member, friend, government, website, newspaper, popular magazine. Evaluating reliability. In a deep, reliable source are authoritative, objective, authentic. Evaluate authority. In the author an expert and the topic. Who is the author? What makes the author an expert on the topic? What are on his/her credentials, academic or otherwise? Can this credential be verified? Who is backing the author? Education, institutional, business, government agency, nobody. How to find author informations of websites. Locate the home page. Look the header and the footer. Click and about used and accused links. Usually, look for the link to an author, biography, philosophy, or the background information. Locate the email address of the site webmaster, email and webmaster for information. Cross-refer author information on other website. Evaluate. Objectively, what point of view does the author represent? Number 1, objectively, is the information based on fact or opinion? What is the purpose of the author? Number 1, to entertain. Number 2, to inform. Number 3, to persuade. Number 5, to sell. Is the information biased? What perspective does the author represent? Think what does of the URL web address say about the producer of a website and its purpose. Look at the final syllable in the domain me, for me, clause about a site's purpose. First, GOV, government agency. Second, NET, internet service provider. COM, commercial company site. EDU, higher education name. MIL, military site, ORG organizations, charitable, religious, or a lalaying group. Evaluate authority. Can I verify the origin and accuracy and informations? Authenticity. Accuracy is this primary source of secondary source of informations. Where does the informations originate? Can the information be verified? Who else has reviewed the informations? The original sources, liar and documented, is a bibliography provides setting the sources used. Primary versus secondary source. Primary source are original manuscripts, records, or documents produced at the time and an event occurred. Interviews, letters, diaries, personal papers, speeches, and public documents. Original resources, theories, literacy. Secondary sources interpret and analyze primary sources. A secondary source does not present new research but rather provides completions of evaluations of previously presented material, textbook, journal, articles, encyclopedia, etc. That's will be all. Thank you.
So here are the following examples of useful and reliable web sources that be seeking a help if we are having important related to the sources needed. First is AFA Newsletter, the Alzheimer's Foundation of America. It is an American non-profit organization based in New York City whose mission is to provide support services and education to individuals, families, and caregivers affected by Alzheimer's disease and related dementias nationwide and funds research for better treatment and a cure. Second is American Memory is an internet-based archive for public domain image resources as well as audio, video, and archive web content. It is published by the Library of Congress. The archive came into existence on October 30, 1994 after $13 million was raised in private donations. It is the online resource compiled by the Library of Congress National Digital Library Program with the participation of other libraries and archives. The program provides a gateway to reach primary source materials relating to the history and culture of the United States. Third one is Bartleby.com, Great Books Online. Full text access to a variety of standard reference books, fiction, non-fiction, and poetry. Fourth is Chronicling America is an open access, open source newspaper database and companion website. It is produced by the United States National Digital Newspaper Program, a partnership between the Library of Congress and National Endowment for the Humanities. It is also a website providing access to information about historic newspapers and select digitized newspaper pages. It is produced by the National Digital Newspaper Program or NDNP. Next one is Cyberbullying, a free collection of ebooks from Every plus additional reports and documents to help better understand, to prevent, and taking an action against this growing concern. Dito naman nakapaloob yung mga information about on cyberbullying. The next one is drug information websites. It's really the discover, use, and management of information in the use of medications. Drug covers the gamut from identification cost and pharmacokinetics to dosage and adverse. For example, is the National Library of Medicine is the world's largest biomedical library and a leader in research in computational health informations. Drugs.com is an online pharmaceutical encyclopedia that provides direct information for consumers and healthcare professionals primarily in the United States. Example is PDR Health, Drug Information, Plain English Explanation for the safe and effective use of prescription and non-prescription drugs. The Library of Congress' effort to provide consistent, in-depth, high-quality access to its extensive international research collections. Google Book is a service from Google Inc. that searches the full text of books and magazines that Google has scanned, converted to text using optical character recognition, and stored in its digital database. For example, yung mga scan book na ginagamit natin na sources or reference books online that we research on Google. The next one is Google Scholar. It's a freely accessible web search engine that indexes the full text or metadata of scholarly literature across an array of publishing formats and disciplines. History sites with primary documents. It finds and creates interactive learning activities with primary source documents that promote historical thinking skills. The next one is the Illinois Digital Archive, was created in 2000 as a repository for the digital collection of the Illinois State Library as well as other libraries and cultural institutions in the state of Illinois. Website hosted by the Illinois State Library offers images and descriptions or historical items in libraries and museums across the state of Illinois. The Internet Archive is an American digital library with a stated mission of universal access to all knowledge. It provides free public access to collections of digitized materials including websites, software applications, games, music, movies, videos, moving image, and millions of books. Carl Digital Collection uses the Content Digital Asset Management tool to describe and deliver digital representations of myriad special collections, including printed and manuscript materials, images, and sound recordings. It also guarantees researchers access to cross-institution and cross-collection searches, integrating previously disparate and possibly remote special collections. The next one is the Internet Public Library. It's a non-profit, largely student-run website managed by a consortium headed by the Drexel University. The next one is the PL2 file extension, indicates your device which app can open the file. For different types of data. The next one is the Librarian's Index to the Internet. Is a searchable annotated subject directory of more than 6,500 Internet resources selected and evaluated by librarians for their usefulness to users of public libraries. Is meant to be used by both librarians and non-librarians as reliable, efficient guide to describe and evaluated Internet sources. The next one is Making of America, Digital Library of Primary Sources in America, Social History from the Antebellum through Reconstruction. Maps from the University of Texas Austin collection includes historical and thematic maps, valuable primary source materials because they can just show a geographic location as it was. Nation Master. The next one is Nation Master. It is a vast compilation of data from such sources as the CIA, World Factbook, UN, and OECD. Using the form above, you can generate maps and graphs on all kinds of statistics with ease. The second one is Nursing Site. It is a sources or websites which include our healthcare and services. Another one is Project Gutenberg. Is a voluntary effort to digitize and archive cultural work as well as to encourage the creation and distribution of ebooks. It was founded in 1971 by American writer Michael Hart and is the oldest digital library. SMOOC is an education technology solutions company that provides digital classroom tools and solutions aimed at easing factors of the learning environments. And the next one is state mastered, a statistical database which allows you to research and compare multitude of different data on US states. And the last one is a virtual reference, is reference service initiated electronically, often in real time, where patrons employ computers or other internet technology to communicate with the reference staff without being physically present.